We're diving into what's more likely. Week 16, Pittsburgh Steelers, Baltimore Ravens, a big one, a clash for the AFC North crown, one that could decide the Pittsburgh Steelers' fate heading in to the postseason. A massive game without George Pickens, but with TJ Watt. And I don't know if you heard the news, but Patrick Mahomes is playing on Christmas too, because, well, just like TJ, that man's also Superman. And that's absolutely wild. I'm going to toss it to you. What's more likely? Week 16, Pittsburgh Steelers, Baltimore Ravens. What do we got?
Yeah, the Pittsburgh Steelers are not the only team in this matchup that are dealing with a couple of significant injuries. The Ravens have some wide receiver issues. As we know, Deontay Johnson is out because they just agreed that he's going to take a sabbatical. Meanwhile, Bateman and Aguilar both questionable for Saturday's game. So they might be down 3 receivers potentially heading into this one. What's more likely? 2 different Steelers receivers catch a touchdown on Saturday, or 2 different Ravens receivers catch a touchdown this Saturday.
Oh, man, that's tough. That's tough. Yeah, as much as this kills me to say, okay, it's probably Baltimore, right? Because at least you got Lamar, who you have to focus on. The Steelers defense is solely focused on stopping Lamar and Derrick Henry. They're not going to care about the nobodies in Baltimore. Whereas in Baltimore, who you focused on? That's the problem. That's why the George Pickens not playing thing isn't working, because there's nobody to focus on. You're not a defense going, got to stop Najee Harris, got to stop Russell Wilson, got to stop Justin Fields, got to stop Pat Freiermuth. No, you're just sitting there going, yeah, we don't really got to stop anybody, man. As long as we show up, chances are we've got the upper hand. At least Pittsburgh's going to be distracted. You got to go Baltimore in this one. And that sucks to say, and I feel bad saying it. This is 2 weeks in a row where you're giving me brutal ones here, dude. But I'm going what's more likely. 2 random new wide receivers in Baltimore catch a touchdown over Pittsburgh's.
I mean, you still have Zay Flowers, but second one's pretty hard to find. Tylan Wallace, Devontae Walker had one last week. Either way,
those are decent names. Yeah. They're not good names, but I'm taking them over the options that the Steelers are using right now.
Very fair. Very fair.
Outside of Calvin Austin. Let's just make that clear. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Van has 2. Maybe Van can get 3.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's also not forget, last time these 2 teams played, the Steelers scored a grand total of 0 touchdowns. So let's keep that in mind. Speaking of the offense struggling against the Baltimore Ravens, what's more likely? A bounce back in this one for Russell Wilson against the Ravens, throwing for 300 yards, or Najee Harris running for 100 yards against the Ravens defense?
Oh my gosh, what are we doing here? This is almost a neither answer. This is Russell Wilson throwing for 300 yards in a game where last time he couldn't do anything against the Baltimore Ravens. 205 coming off of a game where 205, and half of that was like, what was George's stat line in that one? Because that's what it was moonball central to get you to the 20, and then nobody could score a touchdown. That's what was happening there. At the same time, Najee's not doing anything right now to make you think that he could rush for 100 yards. But last time he had, I think, 80 yards. He was just under 100 the last time that they played, because it was just before the 3-game stretch, or just after the 3-game stretch. 63 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that was a good, Derrick Henry had 64. So that was our 67. So that was a good outing against the Baltimore Ravens. Wow, dude, this is a brutal one. What's more likely is Najee, just because I got no faith in Russ and this passing game until proven otherwise. That just ain't gonna happen. And Baltimore's defense is getting better. So I'm going Najee. I don't feel good about that one, but I'm going Najee. What's more likely? Najee, 100 yards.
Let's jump over to the defensive side of the football. Another injury to look out for the Baltimore Ravens. I believe, let me double check here, Odafe Owe is questionable with an injury that popped up, ankle, midweek here. So I still want to ask this question. What's more likely? The Steelers hold Odafe Owe without a sack on Saturday, or the Ravens hold TJ Watt without a sack, both of them on a bum ankle?
You gotta go. You gotta go, Dafe. You gotta go, Dafe being held without a sack. TJ's a monster in these games. This is what TJ. You could talk like, oh, TJ's been double teamed and this and that, whatever. This is where TJ thrives. This is where TJ turns into TJ Watt, where the massive games on the line, and he's saying screw it. And you could go back throughout time. Like, people overlook the fact that they got smoked by the Chiefs a couple of years ago in the playoffs when Mike Tomlin's like, this is a game you better cut your eyelids off because ain't nobody blinking. And then people were sleeping by halftime. But what started that game? TJ Watt sliding into the end zone with a touchdown, because guess what? That's what he does. He shows up in these games, even if the rest of the team does not. You got to go TJ in this one. You got to go TJ getting a sack. Like, I don't care about that ankle, man. TJ is going to wrap that thing, take some smelling salts, do whatever he's got to do to get out there and not even realize he has ankles. He doesn't even know what an ankle is by the time he steps on that field. Adafe might be a little bit beat up. I don't know about that. I don't know him like that. I don't know that work like that. I know TJ, and I know that man is terrifying. So to me, that's all I need to know. I'd put my money on TJ coming up with a sack in this one.
Yeah, I made this initially before seeing Adafe Owe was questionable, but I mean, 2.5 sacks in that last matchup. He was chewing up Dan Moore. So if he is good to go on Saturday, we're going to need to give Dan Moore a little bit of help, because that was not a good matchup in week 11.
I agree. What should help some confidence here is Myles Garrett had a game and a half the first time they played and did absolutely nothing on Dan Moore the second time.
Fair enough. Adjustments are everything in this league, as we always say.
That's true.
Let's go over to the next one here. What is more likely, the Steelers finish the season as the AFC's number 2 seed, or the Steelers finish the season as the AFC's number 7 seed? Do you want to know the scenarios in which they can get to either, Noah?
Yes, please.
They get the number 2 seed by winning out and the Bills losing one of their final 3 games. They played the New England Patriots, the New York Jets, and then the New England Patriots again. And they get the number 7 seed if they lose out and the Chargers end up winning out against Denver, New England, and Las Vegas.
Oh, that's not even hard. That's not even hard. Oh my gosh. You're going to get, people are going to hate me over this. Like, this is ridiculous. It's as crazy as it sounds. It's the 7 seed. As crazy as it sounds, it's the 7 seed. Now let's get some things right here. Okay. I don't think Denver loses to LA. I don't. I think Denver's way too good right now, and LA is not good enough. So that's how I feel about that one. When it comes to Buffalo, I do think they went out. They have the easiest schedule in the whole world, but I don't think that the Pittsburgh Steelers went out. I just don't. Like, you're going to beat Kansas City, you're going to beat Baltimore, and then you're going to go to Cincinnati, or you're going to play Cincinnati at home and say, we're going to put everything on the line here. No, you can care less at that point. It's the 2 seed. And remember the last time the Pittsburgh Steelers were fighting for a playoff spot that meant nothing? They're like, yeah, dude, who cares? Like, nobody gets a bye except for the 1 seed. We're going to take this. We're going to make sure nobody else gets hurt. So I would say it's much more likely that the Pittsburgh Steelers would end up with the 7th seed, just because, like, that's an actual possibility here. It's almost a 0 possibility, but it's much higher than 0 than the Bills losing out with that cakewalk of us. Like, New England.
They just have to lose one, not lose out. Lose one.
They got to lose one.
Lose one of those games.
Nah, I still don't think they could do it. You just beat Detroit. Who are you gonna lose to? You know, New England, not happening. As crazy as it sounds, it's the 7 seed.
That's all I have for what's more likely. We got a couple in the comment section that we'll go to. Let's go to It's Desi, who says, "What's up, fellas? What's more likely, OBJ coming to the Steelers for the rest of this season, or the Steelers getting Ashton Jeanty this offseason?"
I would love to say Ashton Jeanty, but he's going top 10. He's 100% going top 10. Although no mock drafts have him going that high, which is wild to me. Absolutely wild to me. I'll say this. I'd say it's Jeanty just because there's a possibility he slides. If he slides, Steelers are going to grab him. Why wouldn't they grab him? You know, why would you avoid a guy like that? You should not avoid a guy like that. OBJ coming to the Steelers. When Doug Whaley says it, you know it ain't happening. So if that's what we're going off of, I'm going Ashton Jeanty all day.
And we got one other one here from Josh. That is, what's more likely? Watt, Herbig, and Highsmith each get a sack, or Lamar goes for 50+ rushing yards.
I mean, Lamar 50+. Does he go a game without 50+ rushing yards? Is that
not very often?
Is that a thing? Like I would, if it was like 100 rushing yards, I'd say Watt, Herbig, Highsmith. 50. I mean, that's almost a cakewalk for Lamar Jackson, especially if he's down 2 wide receivers. That's big. He's going to be, I mean, don't get me wrong, Mark Andrews is his number 1 wide receiver, but he's going to need to use his legs. Not that he doesn't already, but Lamar 50 rushing yards, easy on that one. That's a cakewalk for him.
Lamar has been the last 2 games, he had 65 and 79 respectively. So that's the type of rushing that he's been doing lately. So 50 yards is a very low number for Lamar Jackson.
It's not if we're going 100, I'd say Watt, Herbig, Highsmith. 50, you got to go Lamar on that one. I'd feel pretty confident. I think when I'm making that parlay on Saturday morning, I bet you Lamar 50 rushing yards is on that parlay for sure.
Let's go over and finish it off with Carl Spackler, who throws one in, says, what's more likely? The Bills lose to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship and the Lions fall just short of a Super Bowl again, or the Steelers are one and done. Battle of the narratives.
Okay, so the Bills lose to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship. Lions fall just short of a Super Bowl again. So both of those things have to happen. Or is it one or the other?
Or both of those things.
Okay. Or Steelers are one and done. What's more likely? Steelers are one and done. You know, the Lions
has to happen in the other one.
Yeah, more than it has to. But I mean, even if we're gonna like the Lions, the Lions, I still, even with their injuries, man, they are terrifying. I mean, the Eagles are my favorite to win the Super Bowl right now. I think hands down. All 3 are solo. Okay. I would still go Steelers one and done. I'd go Lions. Lions fall just short of a Super Bowl is what's more like. Injuries are piling up. Eagles, I think, are way scarier right now than the Lions. Although you got to outscore the Lions, which is not easy to do. The Steelers would be number 2 here, one and done, just depending on their matchup. Bills losing to the Chiefs in the AFC, like that's an easy that could happen. You know, people, we're hitting the point right now where the Chiefs are winning, and they are. It's magic, it's luck, it's all of those things, but they are winning, and they don't do anything but winning. So until they stop winning, I'm guessing they're going to win. Every time I'm going to guess they're going to win, including against the Bills, who I get it, beat them, but that was the only time they've lost this season. And if I had to pick a team and a head coach and a quarterback who can adjust after losing to a team, it would be Andy Reid, the Chiefs, and Patrick Mahomes. So that would be my order there.